Hi, I'm Steve Sable, and welcome to Men Who Wore the Star, the Dallas Cowboys star. For decades, that winning star has been worn by hitters like Cliff Harris and Charlie Waters, and skyscrapers like Ed Too Tall Jones. It's been worn by Mr. Cowboy, Bob Lilly, and Captain Comeback, Roger Staubach. In 1979, these men, under the direction of Tom Landry, rode out to face the Washington Redskins in one of the greatest games ever played by the men who wore the star.
In the 1970s, America's team was the Dallas Cowboys. They projected an aura of invincibility. They encouraged a mystique of superiority. And they did it with style. This was a team of sparkle and flash, concerned with image and appearance as well as performance. Yet they were also coldly clinical, as embodied in the familiar persona of head coach Tom Landry. It was only fitting that the Cowboys' final regular season game of the decade matched them against their arch rivals, the Washington Redskins. Grit versus glitter for the NFC East Championship.
That game in '79 was for the division championship, and there was an awful lot at stake. And we really felt like we were a football team that could be beginning to become something very special.
Not only was this game for the NFC East championship, but also was a home field advantage into the playoffs. And history will show that invariably the team with a home field advantage ends up in the Super Bowl.
At Texas Stadium, the Redskins surprisingly charged ahead with an offensive barrage that produced 17 points in little more than a quarter. It was swift and stunning, yet somehow it did not inspire confidence, only doubt.
Those of us that have been around long enough knew whenever you're playing Roger Staubach and the Dallas Cowboys, no lead is enough, and especially with that much time left.
The comeback magic of Roger Staubach had shattered the spirit of many an opponent. On this day against the Redskins, Staubach boldly went where he had gone so many times before. Three unanswered touchdowns pulled Dallas into the lead midway through the third quarter.
You know, it was funny. It was almost like it was expected. You're just not going to blow the Cowboys out. We knew they'd score once or twice, but the one that hurt us was, I think, the one before the half. They had a third down, an extremely long yardage. They get 3 out of it, maybe. And then he hits Preston with that fingertip catch.
First, Washington had dominated. Then the Cowboys took command. Two rivals banging heads.
The game at that point developed into the type of football game that has been the trademark of the Redskin-Cowboy rivalries, and it wasn't something that was unfamiliar to any of us.
This seesaw struggle would be decided in a fourth quarter as fast and furious as any in recent NFL history. The Redskins drew first blood, vaulting back on top. Then, with less than 5 minutes to play, one final big play by the Redskins seemingly put the game out of reach.
We ran a quick inside trap play. John Riggins broke outside and outran the entire defensive secondary of the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, he outran them all.
Riggins coming to the right side, and Riggins has a big hole. First down the sideline, 40, 30, he's gone to the 20, the 10, he's still on his feet. Touchdown! A 66-yard run by Riggins, exploding away to the outside, and that may be more than the Cowboys can overcome.
I remember very specifically a lot of players in our teams congratulating each other, talking about the Super Bowl, talking as though we had the game wrapped up. And that probably was an indication that we felt as though the game was over, and that I think from that point on we may have let up a little.
Just scares the living daylights, Eddie, because you know they can do it with 2 touchdowns. Those numbers loom in football like giant rain clouds over a parade.
And Theismann knew all too well the power of Roger Staubach to snatch victory.
I think his ability to pull a team out in the final stages of a football game is really unique in our business. From that standpoint, he was something special.
Staubach's time-tested specialty was bringing the Cowboys from behind to the fourth quarter. 22 times in his remarkable career, he had overcome defeat in the final minutes. This would be his biggest hurdle, his greatest challenge.
Clock is running, 2:38 left in the game. Can it happen again? Can they come back again? Shotgun formation, Staubach looking into the face of a four-man rush, throwing, caught, springs,
go, touchdown,
run, spring. 2:20 left in the game. Can they do it again?
You've got to believe, Brad.
Woo!
They just moved the ball so fast, and it was so frustrating. Any move we tried to make, Staubach would counter, Landry would counter, and they'd meet it, and they'd come up with something else, and it was just an extremely frustrating day to be playing defense. I wanted the clock to move so much faster than it was, but you know, they did everything perfectly in that last half.
Yet Dallas needed another touchdown to win. Less than 2 minutes remained, and the Redskins had the ball. Clearly, Washington still had the upper hand.
The Redskins had us 3rd and 1. They gave the ball to Reagans on an outside play to make the first down. The game's over with. And Larry Cole, who wasn't the fastest guy on our football team, was playing inside, and he was able to catch him going around the end, which wasn't very easy because Reagans, he was younger in those days, and he was fast. And the fact he caught him and gave us a chance to get the ball back was the thing that won the ball game for us. It was a great, great play on his part.
Staubach would get that final chance to work his mastery.
When he got the ball back that last time, I said to myself, please, if you're up there listening, you know, pay attention to me because it's gonna take more than a miracle. He was hot. I mean, the man was just hot. Everything he threw up, everybody was catching.
His leadership brought them back time and time again. It was his last year as a player, but he was running around like a young kid. It was probably one of his finest performances.
A minute 1 left in the game. This is an all-timer. Cowboys at the Redskin 33. 2nd down 10. Trailing by 6 points. From the shotgun. Staubach has time. Throws. Caught. Inside the 10 to the 8.
You got to love them. I mean, you got to love the Cowboys. They're the most exciting team in the NFL. They can pull it out.
42 seconds left in the game. Redskins lead by 6. How do you live like this? How can you live like this doing this every week?
This is what it's all about.
This is a killer. 2nd down and 8. From the 8-yard line. No shotgun this time. Staubach throwing in the end zone. Tony Hill! Touchdown! Tony Hill! The Cowboys have won the East. The Cowboys have come from behind twice. Unbelievably.
Just another day at the office, Brad.
Yeah, just, you know.
We had a blitz called in that situation. They read it again perfectly, read the coverage, and went right to the receiver who had one-on-one coverage.
I could see when our corners came up to press him that that's what he wanted to do. I knew it because I would have, if I was in his shoes, I'd have taken the shot. It's no timeouts. You throw it up, it's an incomplete. The clock stops. Hey, way to go. And as soon as the ball went up, I kept thinking, oh, no, overthrow it. And then Tony started to get closer. Then I went, oh, no, drop it. And then he caught it, and I went, oh, no. That was the oh, no.
This miraculous victory was the culmination of the extraordinary NFL career of Roger Staubach. His refusal to accept defeat and his will to surmount all obstacles was this man's football legacy.
That was probably Roger Staubach's greatest game, and he played many great games for us.
You know, looking back on this one, I think history certainly would prove that it was one of the best games ever.
There was an old Burnett Park. Anyway, they condemned it. They had rats about this long. And we had, the first year I was with the Cowboys, we had to hang up our uniforms with coat hangers, or anything leather, like shoes, shoulder pads, or the helmets with the inserts. They would eat it up during the night. You would come back and your shoes and all that would just be destroyed. And that was back in the days when we had to buy our own shoes.
Bob Lilly and the infant Dallas Cowboys walked barefoot on bumpy paths that offered few glimpses of the glory roads that both were destined to travel. This country boy from Throckmorton, Texas, revolutionized the position of defensive tackle with a stunning combination of speed and strength. Strength formed not by weights and pulleys, but farm work. Lilly was the boy at the county fair who wrestles the bear and wins.
I think the most unusual thing about Bob Lilly was if you put 50 people in a room, you know, and had them stripped down to where they just had the shorts on, he would be the last guy you would pick. If, you know, he just didn't have the physique that you thought a football player had, no muscle definition whatsoever.
He didn't epitomize the professional athlete, in my opinion, because he was kind of soft. He wasn't hard as a brick, you know, he was kind of soft. And that's where he played, kind of soft. He didn't really kill anybody, but he made the plays, always made the play. It's not how hard you hit, you know, but how good you tackle.
In 12 years that I played against Lilly, I really don't remember having even a decent game against him. He'd grab you and pull you, and he had tremendous quickness and tremendous reach and strength.
Bob Lilly was just a great football player, and we never could get him to line up on sides. We always thought he lined up off sides and complained to the officials, and nothing happened. So Cornelius Johnson one night was nauseated, and he just regurgitated on Lilly's hands, and that way we got him off the ball. In fact, he stood up and stood well back so that we could snap the ball and run the play of our choice.
Where Lilly did stand was at the forefront as the Cowboys gained power and prestige. He was a man among boys, the unstoppable, unblockable force of the doomsday defense. Opponents could neither contain him with a single player, nor run away from him. So they afforded Lilly the ultimate tribute.
He was a guy that if they double-teamed him, he beat him if they triple-teamed him. And very few people I've ever played with, I've never seen many people triple-team.
He's the only player I've ever been associated with when we watched films on Monday that his peers, including myself, would be there in awe and actually would ooh and awe during the film watching him do the things he could do.
I remember seeing the guard pull, and the center tried to cut him off. When the guard pulls, the center tries to make the block on Lilly, and Lilly jumped over the center, weighing 260 pounds. And I just was in awe of that, and never forgot that.
That he had quick feet. Nobody could get into him. Nobody could block him. He would shiver him. The guards would try to get into him, and he would have him and control him. He'd toss him aside.
You know, he would take his hand and hit his eye. I mean, hit his eye, and he wouldn't blink. And that takes a lot of work. I used to ask him, you know, Bob, what are you doing?
I noticed that when you shut your eyes, like if you're on the line, you have a tendency a lot of times when the contact is made to blink your eyes. And so I used to sit in the meeting rooms all the time, and I'd go like this, and I'd just hit my eyeballs even.
Oh, yeah, he used to, and I thought he was nuts, you know. Him and Andrew and all them guys would be sitting there, and they'd be hitting it. I said, what in the heck? You know, they've gone schizo on us, you know. When I was playing up there, I would concentrate on the man across from me so much that I could see his whiskers. I would see every little whisker in his face. I would watch the ball over here, and the minute it was snapped, I would go, and I would hit this guy, but never blink my eyes so I could see which side he was trying to get on.
Lilly left foes bent, but not bloodied, a trait many viewed as a curse, not a compliment.
Well, here was this big guy, and he was quiet. He was just kind of gentle. He was so quick and fast, and he was running over people, taking on two blockers and beating them. And yet he wasn't really that mean.
I mean, that just wasn't my style. I don't know whether it's, you know, was the way I was brought up or whether it was just that I just wasn't a very mean person, you know, and it was something I just couldn't do if I wasn't that way.
Bob Lilly was more like a Bengal tiger, that he didn't really have to confront people and beat them up. He could leap over them or go around them or be smarter than they were and still make the play.
Lilly's style was clean and pure, without a trace of nastiness. But when this cowboy was bushwhacked, he meted out frontier justice.
We played him in an exhibition game in Texas Stadium. And he was coming off the guard, and I just unloaded with the best shot I had, probably the only good shot I had in 12 years against him. I hit him right in the sternum, you know, came up and got him in the chin. He stepped back and he slugged me. I looked at him, I said, Bob, I don't believe he did that. I mean, it was like he did something that it was totally out of character for him.
Lilly and the Cowboys were sucker punched with the nickname next year's champions. Despite playing brilliantly in consecutive title game losses to the Packers and in a bitter defeat to the Colts in Super Bowl V, Lilly was lumped in with a team called Heartless and Gutless.
Dallas Cowboys, bridesmaids of the NFL. That was a tag that we heard everywhere we went. It was every paper, bridesmaids. And that's a tag that a pro football player just doesn't like. I think when we won the Super Bowl up beating Miami, that was like somebody lifted off a 100-pound weight off all of us.
The Dolphins sank under his weight in Super Bowl VI, as did the myth that the Cowboys were chokers. He was the team's oldest player, and perhaps more than anyone else understood and celebrated the significance of this victory.
Bob Lilly was a gifted athlete. He was a player that was so superior to the people around him. The guy had strength, he had quickness. It took 2 or 3 guys to block him. The best player I ever coached.
In 1974, Bob Lilly retired. He was the Cowboys' first #1 draft pick, their first All-Pro, their first inductee into the Ring of Honor, and their first Hall of Famer. Mr. Cowboy had traveled the glory road from Throckmorton, Texas, to Canton, Ohio.
Number 41, Charlie Water. At free safety from Washington Baptist, number 43, Cliff Harris.
We worked together very well because we knew each other's strengths were justified and our weaknesses could be supported by the other. And we argued a lot because we both understood the system and we wanted the defense that helped win the game first and primarily, but the one that worked the best for us, the one that worked the best for me, Cliff Harris, or the one that worked the best for Charlie Waters. And sometimes the one that worked the best for Charlie was not the best one for me. But ultimately, the one that would win out would be the one that was the best for the team.
Sometimes for me, it was a pleasure to get in a football game after going through a week's worth of practice against Cliff Harris. Because sometimes I would get beat up more in practice going across the middle, and there's Cliff all of a sudden knocking you out. And, you know, he'll say, I'm sorry and everything, help you up, but then he'll knock you out again.
Remember the bumper cars in the old-time amusement parks? There was always one knee-scraped kid driving against the flow, smiling, and looking for head-on collisions. That kid was Cliff Harris. He was a daredevil with a short fuse, crazy enough to jump off his first name. His teammates called him Captain Crash.
I was intense when I played, but it was always controlled. It really was. It may not look like I was in control, but it was always controlled. And we were playing Minnesota, and Fran Tarkenton threw a long pass to a receiver. I think his name was Holland. And I could have intercepted the pass, and for a millisecond, I thought, should I intercept this or should I hit the guy? And I said, well, I'll just hit the guy. And I hit him, and it was a real good hit. And their receivers from that point on were, oh, boy.
Harris was Dallas's robo safety, playing on the edge of Tom Landry's system. And in 1973, Charlie Waters was Dallas's oh-no cornerback, as Harold Jackson once beat him 3 times for touchdowns in the same game. But after settling in at safety, Waters was twice an All-Pro, and his 9 playoff interceptions set an NFL record. A blown-out knee sidelined him in 1979, but he courageously returned to lead Dallas's new secondary into the 80s.
If I take the wrong step, my leg will collapse. It collapsed on me 7 times last year during the season. I played last year with the ligament torn. We were supposed to have repaired that ligament, but I'm still very conscious of it. You know, I'm not the star anymore. You know, I'm just out there holding it together.
I'm too old to play this game.
Don't even worry about that, Slick. You're antique.
Throughout the 70s, there was no better pair of safeties in the league. But just don't ask them which one was the best.
We were very, very competitive with one another and still are to this day. He's one of my best friends and one of my worst enemies. We're like nitroglycerin. You handle it very delicately because it can explode at any moment. I'm very, very supportive of Charlie and what he does, and he's very supportive of me. I hope that he's very, very, very successful in the world. The only thing that I hope to be just a little bit special, and I think he thinks the same thing.
His beloved Cowboys. Others propose a quite different theory. They say it provides headroom for 6'9" Ed Too Tall Jones. Big, even by Texas standards. At Tennessee State, Big Ed jammed basketballs. In Big D, he stuffed quarterbacks.
Fortunately, the players on Dallas' team during that time was very, very close. And they treated rookies very well. And they just kind of took me to the side and said, look, Ed, you're going to make mistakes. Try and digest as much as you possibly can. And, hey, go out there, you blow an assignment, be a football player. And that's the attitude that I took.
Too Tall was a man mountain, and in his 3rd season, he and his Cowboys climbed to the summit of pro football. But in 1978, he left to pursue his own dream.
At the time, the Dallas Cowboys were very, very committed to going back to a Super Bowl. And when Too Tall left to box, we were all surprised, upset, because he was a part of the team that we wanted to see help us get to where we wanted to be, and that was to the Super Bowl.
Didn't matter. I was doing what I wanted to do, something I'd always wanted to do. I'm a very competitive person. I love to win, but I knew, though, one day I would box.
He parlayed a terrific height and reach advantage into 6 straight wins, then left the ring as suddenly and mysteriously as he had entered it.
Something that I haven't even told my family. I haven't told anyone at this point. But I stopped for a reason that I had absolutely no control of.
Boxing left Too Tall in superior shape. And back in Dallas, the former #1 pick was primed for 3 straight Pro Bowl seasons.
I think his greatest asset as a player was his speed. For a man his size, he had tremendous speed, tremendous takeoff, and long arms, and blocked a lot of passes because of his long arms, and trapped a lot of passers because of his speed.
My job is to get the quarterback. After 3-4 seconds, if you're not there by then, get those hands up, deflect the ball. And sometimes I think it can be more important as a quarterback sack.
1st and 10 at the Cowboy 22. Sims to throw. Little pressure coming. Ball is tipped and intercepted by Jeffcoat. And Jim Jeffcoat is going to run this back the length of the field for the tying touchdown. How do you do?
In 1986, Jones swatted away the Giants and put Dallas in the spotlight again, a light Too Tall tries to avoid.
Attention is something that I never seek, and so regardless of what's happening around me or what's being said about me, doesn't bother me at all.
I think that if his right leg were on fire, he would just look down and say, my leg's on fire. Could you put it out, please?
You have players like Ed Jones, and their production doesn't seem to slip much. He had one of his best years last year for us at 35. I'm not sure he can't play 2 or 3 more years at the way he's playing.
Ed Jones, a star. He wore the Dallas Cowboys star. He followed his own star.
From the Naval Academy. And he led Dallas to 2 world championships. And his trademark was the Twilight Rescue Mission. He was the Rambo of the 4th quarter. 23 times he brought the Cowboys from behind to win in the final period. And 14 of those times were in the last 2 minutes or in overtime. Roger Staubach was a statue in the park type of hero. The honorable seaman in the tradition of, I have not yet begun to fight, and we have met the enemy, and he is ours.
I think the biggest thing about Roger was the fact that he never quit. It didn't matter how much the Cowboys were down. I remember in San Francisco, they were ahead of us 14 or 15 points, and it was 3 minutes to go or something, and they were coming by our bench and hollering obscene things at us and calling us losers. And I'll never forget, Roger pulled the game out, and a few seconds before it was over, completed a pass to Lee Folkens, and we beat him. And that was the greatest comeback I'd ever seen, but he did it over and over and over throughout the years.
I believe that Roger was going to win every game that we played in, no matter how much time was left in the ballgame. I always believed that Roger could win the game.
Well, the Cowboys need a miracle. Roger takes the snap, pumps it once. He's going long. Down the near sideline for Drew Pearson. Pearson makes the catch at the 5, touchdown. Staubach hit Pearson on a 50-yard touchdown. Would you believe it?
The greatest thing about Roger Staubach was he was a tremendous competitor. You could not do anything with Roger. I don't care what you were doing, whether you were just taking a 40-yard sprint or you were playing one-on-one basketball. He's not going to let you beat him. I don't care what the stakes are, whether it's just for fun. That's what made him great.
Like all quarterbacks, Roger Staubach had an intense desire to win. And like all the great quarterbacks, he could communicate that desire to his receivers, often lifting them above their normal capabilities.
Sellout at the Hoosier Dome, and many of the fans will be cheering for the Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys make their first visit ever to the Hoosier Dome to take on the Indianapolis Colts in an inter-conference battle. Hello again, everyone. Along with Randy Cross, I'm Dick Stockton. The Cowboys with an impressive win over Green Bay now, even on the year at 2-2. But Jimmy Johnson, the head coach of Dallas, did not mince any words. He said, look, he says, I'm in trouble if I have to psych up my team. The fact is we are better than the Indianapolis Colts, and we should beat this team today.
Well, Dallas has got that old confidence, the cockiness, the arrogance that winning brings on. But, you know, Jimmy Johnson should be a little bit worried about this game today because I think Indy plays great in this dome, and the confidence level could get over to the arrogance. It could be a problem.
Colts, of course, 2-2 as well, and they're going again with Jack Trudeau as their quarterback, Randy.
They're going to go with Trudeau at quarterback. The most important thing for Jack Trudeau, first down. Got to get at least 4 yards, take the pressure off him. And their defense must force Troy Aikman and the Dallas offense to do something they haven't done since their first 2 losses, and that's turn the ball over and make mistakes.
And Jimmy Johnson, who has a chance to go over the 500 mark for the first time ever in regular season with a victory today. Remember, he was 1-15 in his first season. And Ted Marchibroda, who is 62 years old, returned to the Colts last year and led them to a 9-7 record, although Marchibroda will be quick to tell you it was a deceptive 9-7. They won their last 5 games against not the top quarterbacks in the league, though.
And Marchibroda's got a different leadership ability and quality about him. It's very much a quiet confidence. He instills that confidence in his players. He's not a yeller. He's not a screamer. He's more a guy, if they don't perform, it's almost like being disappointed you didn't do something for your dad. You know, your dad used to look at you and say, wouldn't say I'm mad, wouldn't say I'm angry. He says, I'm disappointed.
There is Kenneth Gant on the left and Kevin Williams on the right. The Cowboys won the toss and they'll receive. And Dean Biasucci will kick off for the Colts. Yeah, Marchibroad is the kind of guy you want to go see for dinner on Thanksgiving Day.
And the confidence and the cockiness, Dick, is going to show up early, especially in special teams. If the Cowboys aren't ready, you'll see it early.
Colts and the Cowboys in a sea of blue in the crowd today and on the field as well. And a booming kick headed over to Kevin Williams, and he'll down it in the end zone for a touchback. So the Cowboys go on offense. Troy Aikman, the #1 rated passer in the NFC with all the bumps and bruises. And the offensive line, outstanding work by SUNAY, Newton, Stepnoski, outstanding right side in particular with Gogan and Eric Williams. Emmitt Smith and Darrell Johnston in the backs. The wide receivers, Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper, and the tight end, Jay Novacek. A brilliant quartet, and quintet we should say, of firepower on offense. First down on the 20-yard line. Operating out of the I formation. And a play-action pass on first down, and the pass to Darrell Johnston, the fullback, and he gets nearly 9 yards on the play with Jeff Harrod, the linebacker, making the stop. Colts defensive line, 300-pounders up front with John Hamm, Tony Siragusa, the #1 pick last year, Steve Entman, and Skip McClendon. The strength is the linebackers, Harrod, Quentin Coriat, and Dwayne Bickett. And in the secondary, Eugene Daniel, Jason Belzer, John Baylor, and Chris Gould, who did not play against the Broncos last week. Second down and 1. They bring out Johnston wide to the left and hand off to Emmitt Smith, and he's going to be stopped short. They have lost a yard on the play, and leading the charge was Skip McClendon, the defensive end.
And these Colts are ready for the Cowboys offense from the standpoint they realize the Cowboys' objective is to spread you out, much like a run-and-shoot offense, and open up the inside running game for Emmitt Smith. But with guys like Siragusa and Entman in the middle, Rich Venturi, who's the defensive coordinator right there, he knows he's got a strong base in the middle.
It'll be third down and 2, and Jim Price, who was acquired from the LA Rams in a trade, the second tight end, is in there, number 89. Only one wide receiver on third down, and Emmitt Smith finds the hole, and he'll get the first down off the left side. He brings it out beyond the 30-yard line. A gain of 4 yards. John Hand and Dwayne Bickett on the tackle.
Well, you have your two tight end look. That leads you to believe you're going to get motion, but what you get is a huge hole right through here. You talk about spreading out a defense. There's two ways to do it. You spread them out or you blow them out, and right there Newton and Stepnoski and SUNAY just blew that side of the Colt defense away.
Last week, the wide receivers had a ball against Green Bay, and let's see if the running backs can do it this time. Aikman to throw on first down, and the pass to Michael Irvin is caught, and he is close to a first down, maybe short by a yard. Eugene Daniel, the cornerback, in on the play, and a gain of 9 yards.
First down for the Colts in general is going to be important, not only for their offense, but also for their defense. Because if you get this Cowboys offense 8, 9, 7 yards on first down, you open up their whole playbook. It enables them to run on second down, it enables them to pass on third down, and it enables them to go deep.
7 catches for 155 yards and a touchdown grab last week against the Packers. Second down and 1. Alvin Harper is in motion. And again, they go to Emmitt Smith looking for room. He's trapped and thrown for another loss inside the 40-yard line. So the Colt defense clogging the middle, and once again Skip McClendon, the former Cincinnati Bengal, in on the play.
And if you are getting spread out, the most important thing, control the line of scrimmage. Play on their side of the ball, and don't give the running back anywhere to go. You saw Steve Entman made the initial penetration, and a great job by the other 6 guys up front in that front 7 of maintaining their lanes and filling on Emmitt.
A loss of 3 yards. So once again, the Cowboys have third down and 4. Price is in again as the second tight end. Novacek in motion. Aikman has time. His pass up the middle is overthrown. Price was the intended receiver, and Randy, he was wide open in Colt territory.
I don't know if the Colts bothered to read the flip card. You get the lineups and you get the starting lineups and the rosters. They didn't have 89 in their game plan, because watch the middle of the field. Look at Price. Absolutely wide open, and you saw Coriat and Bickett in the middle sort of look at each other with that wasn't relief. That was near panic before that ball went over his head.
So John Jett, the rookie punter, and there is Clarence Burdan, the veteran, two-time Pro Bowl specialist, back to receive for the Colts. A low kick, and Burdan on the run at the 25-yard line. A penalty marker is down, and Burdan is stopped almost in his tracks after a 3-yard return. Making the play was Brock Marion, but there's a flag down, and we'll hear from Gordon McCarter, our referee today.
I was dropped right in the area of illegal receiver downfield, illegal man, yep. I think if you're the Colts, you decline this penalty and you don't take it, you take the ball. You don't want to give a punter, even after an effort like that, you don't want to give him another shot at booming one next time.
Yeah, this is not bad field position for the Colts on their 26-yard line.
The ineligible downfield, number 39 kicking team. Penalty declined, first down.
Derek Gaynor got down too quick. So we're going to take a break, and Ted Marchibroda's Colts will get the ball on offense for the first time when we come back. Dear veteran Jack Trudeau, termed a wily veteran by Ted Marchibroda yesterday. What is a wily veteran in your book, Randy?
It's not a guy that's only played 8 or 9 years in the league. I mean, Montana's a wily veteran. Phil Simms is a wily veteran. Jack Trudeau has been a recipient of a lot of hits, and he's got a chance to win some ball games here, but he's got a great attitude. He knows if Jeff George was completely healthy and that wrist wasn't hurt, he wouldn't be starting.
Sean Dawkins, the rookie from Cal, is in there as a third wide receiver on first down from the 26. Potts, the running back, gets the call, gets a good hold on first down. Roosevelt Potts, second-round pick from Northeast Louisiana, and one to watch, picks up 9 yards with Edwards and Smith making the tackle. Up front, Will Wolford, the former Buffalo Bill, with Randy Dixon at left guard. Kirk Loudermilk, the former Viking. William Schultz and Zephros Moss, who came over from the Cowboys in a trade a few years ago. Anthony Johnson and Potts in the backfield. Reggie Langhorne and Jesse Hester are the wide receivers, and Kerry Cash is the tight end. Second down and 1 for Trudeau. Again, 3 wide receiver lineup for the Colts. They give it to Potts, and Potts will get the first down. He's very tough to bring down, over about 250 pounds, a gain of 5 with Tolbert and Edwards that time. Cowboys defense. Up front, Haley, Russell Maryland, Tony Casillas, and Tony Tolbert, who made the last tackle. The linebackers and the rookie Darren Smith on the weak side. Ken Norton in his first start as a middle linebacker playing well. Brown and Everett, Woodson and Kevin Smith in the secondary. Second down and 1. The formation hasn't changed yet for the Colts. Showing blitz, and here comes the blitz and the play action pass. Trudeau lays it in, and it's caught, and it'll be a first down. Reggie Langhorne.
Nice job, Dick, on what appeared to be an audible as the Dallas Cowboys show blitz. Look at Edwards sneaking up. They're blitzing from the inside. They're blitzing from the inside, outside. Loudermilk gets a combination. Roosevelt Potts gets a great blitz pickup on his part. And Trudeau, just a very confident throw out there to Reggie Langhorne. This is the start the Colts needed.
14-yard pickup into Cowboy territory. Both wide receivers caught only 2 passes last week against Denver. They go to Potts up the middle. Roosevelt Potts has another first down. Everett makes the tackle after a 12-yard pickup. Big Rosie, they call him. He says he's a tailback with a fullback body.
Well, Butch Davis, the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, has another name for this guy. Calls him a rolling ball of butcher knives. Nice trap block by Schultz. And you get a guy that's 200. He says he slimmed down. He goes, lost a lot of weight. I've really slimmed down. I'm 252. Goes, Rosie, you were 258. He goes, it's all in my mind. Makes a big difference. I can run.
And he sure can. Here he is again off the left side. He's got about 30 yards gained already with 9:14 to go in the first quarter. A 3-yard pickup, and Everett, the free safety, again on the tackle.
And one thing this does really, Dick, for the Indianapolis Colts is it negates the speed difference between this offense and defense. Dallas has a very, very fast defense, but if somebody's blasting you in the face and running right at you, it's really hard to utilize speed. Then you're trying to utilize strength, where the Colts have an edge on this defensive front seven.
Colts are doing what the Cowboys wanted to do, spread the defense and hand the ball off to Smith, only Potts is the man. And there he is again on a difficult handoff, that time by Trudeau on 2nd and 7. Fortunate the Colts did not fumble on that play, where Russell Maryland was right there.
Well, for the second play in a row, too, Potts is coming out of his shoes. The way he's running, he should be coming out of his shoes. And there's Big Rosie right there. And, you know, he is a guy, I think, that has been the missing part of this offense. This offense hasn't had a 100-yard rusher since Dickerson in '91. It's something that Jeff George has never had as quarterback. He's gotten beaten to death practically in these games. And now Trudeau has got the advantage of having a guy that's running.
James Washington is in for the Cowboys as an extra defensive back. 3rd down and 9 following the loss of 2 yards. Trudeau has some time, and his pass into coverage, and it's picked off by Thomas Everett. And the Cowboys blunt a Colt offensive parry there, and a 17-yard return as Trudeau has thrown his 5th interception of the season. It'll be Dallas ball again in a scoreless game in Indianapolis. It'll be a 1st down on the 32-yard line following the interception by Thomas Everett. So each team has had the ball once. We've had a turnover, and the pass out on the flat is to Emmitt Smith. Good swing move by Smith, and he'll get the 1st down. And is tackled close to midfield by Quentin Coryat. A gain of 15.
Let's look at the play. They gave him the ball. Watch Everett play great center field, but watch Johnson come out here, go in the flat. He is wide open. There is no reason for Trudeau to force this ball downfield. He's got a legitimate 9 to 10 yards. He's got a 1st down, but he gets greedy, and Everett makes him pay.
For Everett, his 19th career interception. Cowboys now have a 1st down on their 47-yard line. Again, Emmitt Smith going off the left side, but he is tripped up. And John Hand might have gotten a big hand on Smith to prevent him from turning the corner.
I don't think he got the whole hand on his foot, but he got a couple of good, strong fingers to bring him down that time. It's a nice play, and I actually think Hand's got an argument that he was being held by Mark Tuinei, who's sort of half dragging him down, but Hand just gets that right foot of Smith out from underneath him, and that's an AstroTurf play. I don't think on grass he goes down there.
One of 4 number 1 draft picks in the defensive unit for the Colts. 2nd down and 10 after no gain. Here's Darrell Johnston, who is ridden out of bounds by Dwayne Bickett after a pickup of 6 yards. So twice, Randy, we have seen Johnston, normally a blocker, go out as a receiver.
You know, Johnston, everybody knows his nickname's Moose, and you get a good indication of the number of Cowboys fans here as he caught that pass. And of these 60,000, I'd have to say at least easy 20,000 of these fans are Cowboys fans.
There's a role player personified for the Dallas Cowboys. Johnston, who makes it all happen for Aikman in the protection department and for Emmitt Smith as well. 3rd down and 3. Jim Price once again is in as the 2nd tight end for Dallas. Aikman tossed to Michael Irvin on a slant play, and he got hit hard. He's got the 1st down to the Colts 35-yard line. He got 11 yards on that play, and John Baylor, the strong safety, made the tackle on Irvin.
On the NFL Today, Terry Bradshaw talked about the values of a 3-step drop and getting the ball out of the quarterback's hand. Great example. Of course, it never hurts when you have a Michael Irvin on the other end of that pass who's catching the kind of balls and having the sort of year he's having. But little passes like that are great for Irvin, but look for Harper. Those set up big plays for Alvin Harper.
1st down on the 35. Here's Emmitt Smith. May have room off the left side. And it was Dwayne Bickett as well as John Baylor coming in to stop Smith after a gain of 7 yards. Well, here's how Michael Irvin tested the artificial turf prior to the game today.
Here's Indianapolis' secret defense right here.
What happened?
That's when and the first thing to do, you take off your helmet, you look at the ground, but you're checking the turf. But you know what you're thinking? You're looking around the stadium going, how many people saw that, you think? You see,
probably everybody.
You're going, boy, I'm glad the place was in full during warm-ups.
How embarrassing. Well, he's made up for it already. 2nd down and 3 on the 28-yard line. Aikman dumps it over the middle to Johnston, and the fullback has another first down close to the 15. That time a 12-yard pickup from Aikman. Bickett and Baylor again on the tackle.
Venturi, the defensive coordinator of the Colts, says he likes to dial up his defenses and keep the offense guessing. Well, right now the Cowboys have sort of stuck a stick in the spokes of that wheel right now, and they are guessing right. Venturi, one of the more colorful coaches you're going to see, a guy that physically goes through every play with his defense. He twitches, he moves, he jumps.
He's playing as hard as they are. Aikman is 6 for 7, and this pass is caught by Irvin, and he is out of bounds at about the 6-yard line. Eugene Daniel has his hands full today covering Michael Irvin, that time on 11-yard pickup.
And when you talk about dialing in a defense, you're talking about making the offense guess. You make them think you're thinking pass when you're thinking run. But this time, Dallas's defense again thinks right. Indianapolis is stuffed up in the middle for the run, and they get single coverage on the outside. And if you can guess single coverage with Irvin and Harper, you can also guess 6 points.
First and goal on the 5-yard line. And here is Emmitt Smith, goes up the middle and is stopped short of the goal line by Jason Belzer. Too many tackles, you'd have to say, by the Colts secondary in this first quarter, as the Colts are ready to give up the first score.
Well, watch the parting of the blue sea here. There is nobody. You got a lead blocker like Johnston in front of you. I mean, Johnston can contribute offensively, but you know, his greatest contribution to Emmitt Smith in this offense is as a lead blocker. He is the best lead blocker in the league right now. Sort of the smallest guard in the league.
Second and goal on the 1-yard line. With less than 3.5 to play, first quarter. Wide open, Darrell Johnston, touchdown, and the Cowboys have taken the 6-0 lead. First touchdown catch of the year for Johnston, and he was the main man on that drive.
And that's one of the drawbacks that were exploited by the 49ers in bringing a guy like Tom Rathman and his use into the league. You get the defense thinking lead block, and you're thinking pass to the exact same guy. That opens it wide open. McDonald, the linebacker, 57, he came right at him, ran right by him.
Troy Aikman was 8 for 9 in the game thus far, and here is Eddie Murray, who had a big day last Sunday, adds the extra point, and it's 7-0 in favor of the Cowboys.
Well, you come into the game, you worry about Aikman, you worry about Emmitt Smith, you worry about Harper, you worry about Novacek, you worry about this guy, you better start worrying about him.
Recipient of Troy Aikman's touchdown toss, Darrell Johnston, to give the Dallas Cowboys 7-0 lead. Johnston caught 3 passes on that drive, including the clincher. Now Eddie Murray will be kicking off. Clarence Verdun and Rodney Culver are back deep for the Colts. It's a returnable kick, and it'll be Verdun at the 2-yard line. Not much room on the right side, and he took a tremendous hit that time by James Washington after a return of 18 yards. So the Dallas Cowboys with a scoring drive, and they took advantage of the turnover, the interception by Everett. So they capitalized on that in 4:32.
And the key for the Colts is to keep doing what they were doing on the last drive. You're running the ball well, great, but don't get greedy like you did last time. Trudeau tried to force the ball. He had a 10-yard gain in the flat to Johnson. Be patient. A defense like Dallas is waiting for you to make those kind of mistakes.
Here is Potts. You know that he got the Cowboys' attention with his running the first time the Colts got the ball. That time the middle linebacker, Ken Norton, held him to a 1-yard pickup.
We talked earlier about the forte of the Dallas defense is their speed, Dick, and what you don't want to do is start running laterally and letting them use their best weapon. If you're going to run a Potts, it's got to be right in their face, right at them. You start pulling tackles and whatnot like Wolford did the last play from the backside, that gives the defense too much time to recover.
Kenneth Gant, a defensive back, replaces Darren Smith, so there's an extra back and one less linebacker on 2nd down and 9. Trudeau completes his pass to Kerry Cash, the tight end. There's a fumble, and the Cowboys may have recovered. Yes, they do. That's a killer for the Colts, and Jimmy Johnson's team will have another big opportunity. A fumble on the play by Cash, the tight end, and Dallas will get the ball again in great field position.
The first error was a mental error by the quarterback. The second error you'd have to call a physical error. There is no way to prepare as a receiver for someone sticking a helmet or a shoulder pad right on the ball. Here you see Ken Norton from his middle linebacker position playing that play well. But the one that made the play was Gant coming in from that cornerback position and sticking right on the ball. Cash, I really don't think that's not a problem. That's just something that's going to happen.
Woodson recovered for the Cowboys. A first down on the 22-yard line. Here's Emmitt Smith trying to test the middle, and he picks up 2 yards on the play. Tony Siragusa, one of the strong tackles inside, making the stop with 2:15 remaining in the first quarter.
It's funny when you look at the Dallas offense, as big as their front line is, Stepnoski looks kind of out of place there as a center around all those wide gray pants, silver pants you see. There's a lot of big guys up there, but as their defense is, the key to the Dallas offense is speed. They got a lot of speed in their skill positions, a lot of power up front, but the specialty is speed.
2 tight ends again, and they send Johnston in motion. The pitch goes to Emmitt Smith, trying to cut inside. He does. Emmitt Smith, he may get it. And Smith with a stiff arm, and did he get over? No call yet. We do not have a call of a touchdown, and apparently he did not get in. Now they do. They signal touchdown. That was the longest delay before a touchdown call I've seen in quite a while.
Well, the problem is the official was checking his body parts after getting smacked on the sideline there. He went down in a heap with a couple photographers and a few Colts and Emmitt Smith, but there's an example of that speed we talked about. You go speed right, and if it's not there, you cut it back. Let's look at this from the end zone. You see it like Emmitt does. A sweep right where things are being strung. There's the hole. Look at him break. And now it's just the speed of Emmitt Smith and a dash for the pylon. Watch what happens at the end, and you'll see why the official wasn't too quick to signal that one.
Daniel and Belzer try to keep Smith from the end zone. They failed in that attempt. Eddie Murray's kick is good, and the Cowboys again capitalize on a Colt turnover, and it's 14-0.
There's Jay Novacek with a nice block, and here he is as Emmitt Smith sneaks in. It's 14-0 and time for the Colts to start throwing the ball.
With his second touchdown of the season, he said, I'm going to catch all those guys ahead of me after missing the first 2 games of the year in the rushing department. Here is Murray's kick headed for Verdan. About a yard in the end zone, returning for the Colts. Verdan with great speed. Penalty markers fly from upfield as Burden is stopped by Matt Vanderbeek. Gordon McCarter, veteran referee. And that's going to set the Colts back a little more. Well, one of the few chances that the Colts had in this game, if they would have forced Dallas into turnovers to take an early lead. This was not in the script for Ted Marchibroda.
They've made a lot of mistakes early, and they've just had to settle down. They're going to have to throw the ball. The premium is going to be on protection. You're going to have to challenge it, Charles Haley. You're going to have to allow for him every single play. For the Colts to win, they've got to hope the Cowboys get overconfident and kind of let down a little bit. But unfortunately for the Colts, Jimmy Johnson teams don't let down.
This is the worst spot the Colts could have been in. 14-0. Still have 1:31 remaining in the first quarter. Turnovers have really killed the Colts so far, and the Cowboys have capitalized. Here's Potts, Roosevelt Potts. Boy, he has been impressive in this first quarter, so the Colts at least have the running back to take the pressure off of Trudeau. A gain of 8 yards with Darren Woodson, the strong safety, on the stop.
Well, they've got the running back because, as he's referred to as the rolling ball of butcher knives, is off to a great start right now because he's got knees and thighs and shoulders and everything else going. But for the Colts to be effective against the Cowboys, they've got to make them respect their passing game. They've got to make the defense think they're going to throw the ball successfully.
They go to Potts on 2nd and 2. He hesitated, and he's going to be knocked back by a host of Cowboys. And there you see the Tony Tolbert with the great support. It was Thomas Everett, who has already made an interception in the ball game, who drove Potts back after the slight hesitation.
Well, Dick, you mentioned Potts thinks he's a halfback trapped in a fullback's body, but at 252 pounds, you cannot run sideways against the Dallas defense. You will get swarmed like he just was every time. You've got to hit it quick, make your decision, and go.
Cowboys are thinking pass defensively. Kenneth Gant has come in for Darren Smith at linebacker, and that's what Trudeau's going to try to do on 3rd and 3, and the pass is caught, and that'll be a Colt first down. Making the reception for Indianapolis, Sean Dawkins, the #1 draft pick out of Cal, and a gain of 8 yards.
And Dawkins is in the mold of sort of the new breed, the Harpers, the Irvins, the Rices, the big physical 6'3", 205-pound wide receivers. Had a great career at Cal, is just now starting to come around in Ted Marchibroda's offense, and I think we're going to see a lot of him today, especially on those shorter patterns, and he's also a receiver that does have a certain degree of threat as far as speed.
He has caught 1 pass, and that was for a 25-yard touchdown reception, so we'll be seeing a lot of Sean Dawkins. And that is the end of the first quarter here at the Hoosier Dome with the score. The Cowboys 14 and the Colts nothing. Long face. And the reason is the Cowboys lead 14-0.
They're staring defeat in the face, and that's staring the horse in the face.
Colts with a first down on the 27-yard line. Trudeau has completed 3 of 4 for 26 yards. He's also thrown one away into the hands of Thomas Everett. 3 wide receivers. Potts gets a good hold off the right side. Roosevelt Potts maybe caught from behind, but another sizzling run and a penalty marker. 2 of them are down at the 37-yard line after a 34-yard run. Darren Smith made the tackle, and Thomas Everett also in on the play.
Yeah, when you're trying to tackle a 252-pound fullback, you grab anything that's available. One of the things available was a face mask.
Face mask, 5-yard penalty, number 27, tacked on from the end of the run. First down.
You don't go laterally, you attack. And when you make your decision, you make it quick, and that's what Potts does. And right here at the end, here it comes, face mask. That's a little extra yardage. Let's get a good look at it. Well, yeah, Everett so far has an interception and a face.
A 5-yard penalty. Not an overt act, the officials felt, by Everett. And it'll be a first down on the Cowboy 34. The deepest penetration, obviously, so far by the Colts. And they go to Potts. Goes on with a good thing. He picks up a couple. Darren Smith on the tackle. And now for an NFL update on the Philadelphia-Chicago game. Let's check in with Jim Nance in New York. Jim?
All right, Dick, there are some long faces in Philadelphia, too. Bubby Brister has turned it over twice. Harbaugh for the Bears to #1 pick Curtis Conway, his first NFL touchdown. Bears lead 10-0 starting the second. Back to Dick and Randy.
A shock in some circles. Randy?
Well, the shock really is mainly in Chicago. I'm sure a lot of Bear fans don't expect that kind of performance out of Harbaugh after the way he's done so far this year.
Second down and 8. Trudeau on the draw play. Potts and Darren Smith trying to hang on for dear life. He might have picked up a yard on the play. So far, Potts has carried 11 times for about 71 yards. I think that's exactly what it is. So a great first half for the rookie Roosevelt Potts.
Well, the problem for the Colts has not been their execution on first down so far offensively. Obviously, defensively, they had a problem with the Cowboys' offense. But offensively, they're gaining the yards they need on first down. The problem's been taking advantage after that on their second and third, and their execution with their quarterback taking the sure thing.
Potts goes out, and Anthony Johnson, who's their leading rusher and receiver coming into the game. Going out as a receiver here, and the pass up the middle, and wide open is Johnson. Darren Woodson makes the tackle, and Anthony Johnson, who was born in Indianapolis and was a second-round draft pick from Notre Dame 4 years ago with a gain of 10 yards, and the Colts are moving the ball.
And that's the kind of play. You saw it set up on the interception where Johnson was free. As you see, Johnson, 23, circles out of the backfield. You don't force it. You take the sure thing, and you let the guy with the ball make something happen once he catches it.
First down on the 21-yard line. Anthony Johnson, a play fake, and Trudeau's pass is Intercepted again, and the third turnover of the first half, and that was Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith, who has intercepted 3 passes now for the Cowboys this year, and the Colts are self-destructing with 3 turnovers in this first half. And we may see another QB before this one's history. The Cowboys have capitalized on turnovers, and the 3 Dallas takeaways equals their whole season total so far.
And on that last play, you know, when you think about defense, you want to clear out with the outside receiver, Dawkins. You want to bring Langhorne underneath. One of the things you've got to live with if you play a rookie are rookie mistakes. Dawkins stopped in the middle of his route, and that's why the interception was made.
Whatever. So it's a first down for the Cowboys, and Troy Aikman throwing, and he completes it to Michael Irvin. Nearly regained his footing and got a few more out to the 32-yard line, and a gain of 19 yards for Michael Irvin. 2 of the turnovers, by the way, committed by the Colts have gotten inside the Dallas 30-yard line, so it's not like they haven't had opportunities to cash in against the Cowboys.
We're coming into that play, Dallas was averaging 4.5 yards on first down. Now they knock another 19 on top of that. Indianapolis is doing almost what Green Bay did. They're trying to stop the run, and they're challenging the receivers. That can be deadly with Troy Aikman at quarterback.
First down on the 32-yard line, and the pitch is to Emmitt Smith. Nowhere to go. Great ad-libbing by Emmitt Smith as he gets 7 yards on the play. Skip McClendon brings him down. 11:35 remaining in the first half. 14-0 in favor of the Cowboys, and we have an injured Colt, Steve Emmitt, who is really the man who's going to be manning the defensive tackle spot of the future, the #1 draft pick in last year's draft from the University of Washington, and he is shaken up. And with that injury, we'll take a timeout, return to the Hoosier Dome after this.
Look at Emmitt right here. We're not going to dwell on this, but here's Emmitt on the last play. And this doesn't need description. Just watch what happens. And this is not good news with that right leg right there folding underneath Emmitt as he was putting all the pressure on to cut back. And they've got a card on the field. And they're going to take the leader of Emmitt's army, the more fanatical fans, as they refer to him here in Indianapolis, off the field. And their general is hurting.
Yeah, there's not much to cheer about here with Steve Emmitt, who is the cornerstone of the future of a very impressive defensive line for the Indianapolis Colts. As we said, all of them weigh 300 or more pounds, but Emmitt is definitely the key to that line.
And the point must be made here. It was the left knee of Steve Emmitt he hurt last year. That is his right leg he's injured this year.
His place will be taken on the defensive line by Sam Clancy, 11-year veteran from the University of Pittsburgh. There is Clancy, who, by the way, was a basketball star as well as football at the University of Pittsburgh. Played for Bobby Knight in the Pan American Games back in 1979. But it's hard to put Clancy in Emmitt's category. Emmitt Smith running off the left side, and he may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. Jeff Harrod, who had been injured himself in recent weeks, making the tackle.
And one of the dangerous things about these Dallas Cowboys is how patient they and their offensive coordinator Norv Turner can be. They'll take the little gain, they'll take the no gains. They know they have their weapons. This right now is the best offense in the NFL. I know some teams would argue that, gee, we have talent here, we have talent there. The whole package is here in Dallas.
Kevin Williams is in his third wide receiver. First time the Cowboys have gone this way. 3rd and 2. And Aikman has to dump it off, and it's to Alvin Harper underneath. And it's going to be an incompleted pass. I'm not sure why the officials did not blow their whistles earlier and let the players go after it and maybe risk injury. It was clearly not caught. Tony Stargell was defending on the play, and we may, in fact, have someone shaken up after all.
The starting cornerback, Chris Good,
who, by the way, did not play last week because of an ankle injury against the Denver Broncos. So Good is hurt. But that was a long time before we heard the whistle and the signal of an incompleted pass.
I guess you could say it's a sound or whatnot, but if you're thinking fumble and you're full speed defense, you're trying to get that ball.
Yeah, he ran smack into Derek Gaynor, who came in as a blocking back for Troy Aikman. Let's see if it was closer than we figured up here in the booth, as far as the completion is concerned.
Well, it's being bobbled from the very beginning. Watch right here. The ball gets in, it's out, 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 out.
Never had it.
You know, the whistle's blowing here. A little bit of continuation on the part of Mr. Stargell bringing things down, but I mean, there's no excuse for the players, A, not stopping, and B, the officials not taking a more assertive role and making sure the play does stop.
Stargell has for that in the USFL. Booming kick by Jet sends Verdun backpedaling inside his 5. Bobbles the ball. He's in trouble. Trying to get out of his own end zone. And Bill Bates knocked him out of bounds, and Verdun made a lot out of very little as he returned it 17 yards. Heady play by Verdun.